Hey, welcome back to Fresh Gaming News. So, Tears of the Kingdom just came out, and it is the highest rated game ever, apparently, on OpenCritic, and it's getting like 10 out of 10s everywhere, and I don't understand why, because I don't think this game is even a 9 out of 10, to be honest. I think this game is like an 8 out of 10, let's be honest. And people saying that it's a 10 out of 10 obviously have probably never played a fucking game in their life before, and this is the first game they've ever played. Either that or they're insane, because how the fuck is this game, which is not really that much better than Breath of the Wild, which was like an 8 out of 10 as well, getting the highest rated game of all time, critic awards everywhere? It doesn't make any sense, and I'm going to talk about why this game was not really worth the wait, and why it's kind of bullshit that people are saying it's the best game ever made and shit like that. So, I did a review the other day on my other channel, Tears of the Kingdom review, and I said it's pretty good. It's a good game. I'm not going to say it's a bad game. It's definitely a fucking good game. But considering it took 6 years to come out, it's definitely not worth the wait. And most of the shit in the game is very similar to stuff from Breath of the Wild. So if you've played Breath of the Wild, you're not really going to have that much more enjoyment in this game. It's very similar in that fact, but unless you really liked Breath of the Wild, you'll probably like this game as well. But if you didn't like Breath of the Wild, you probably won't like this game. So the first thing I want to talk about is the dungeons. So everybody's talking about how great the dungeons are. So when the developer interview came out the other day, they were talking about how traditional dungeons are back in Zelda. Oh my god. But no, they're not. No, they're fucking not. This is not a traditional dungeon like the ones in Skyward Sword. This is way more like Divine Beasts in Breath of the Wild. This is basically just a Divine Beast with a fucking skill on top of it to make it seem more different. Because the idea of the dungeon is exactly the same. You have 5 thingies that you have to turn off, and then at the end, you get a freaking boss. And I will admit, the bosses are a lot different, a lot better than in fucking Breath of the Wild, where they were like the Calamity guys every single time, and they were exactly the same. Like, these bosses are pretty cool. I mean, this guy is pretty easy to beat, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty easy to beat this guy, but as for like originality, it's pretty good. But then the bosses themselves, like the puzzles, they're all the exact same puzzles. You have these freaking hook things. You have to like build a hook on like a rail and put it down on like a thing. And they're all the exact same. All the puzzles are the exact same in all the damn dungeons and shrines. Like, they don't really evolve from that. Like in Skyward Sword, they had completely different dungeons. Like, they had like the time stone things, and like they had other kind of things like that. But they were all like, the ways you did the dungeons were completely different each time. But in this game, every single time, you either use like 3 different ways. You use like Ascend, or you use the Fuse. But the Fuse isn't even for puzzles. That's mostly just for like using weapons. But you either use the Fuse or the Magnet thing, which is now like the Connect thing. But it's basically a magnet from Breath of the Wild, let's be honest. But you use these 2 different things, and the way you use them is exactly the same every single time. So it gets very repetitive very quickly. And those are the only 2 things they use for each of the freaking shrines. They don't have any other kind of puzzles. So yeah, the shrines are very similar in terms of puzzles. They don't really have any like traditional puzzles. You basically just do the fusing thing every single time. The magnet shit. And then as for the overworld is pretty much the exact same as in Breath of the Wild. People were saying, oh, it's going to be different, it's going to be different, they spent 6 years on it, it's going to be different. But no, it's not different at all. It's not fucking different. I mean, yeah, there are different shrines and Korok seeds over the overworld, but as for the actual landmarks and stuff, it looks exactly the same. Even the graphics are exactly the same. So yeah, if they did it in like a different world and stuff, it would be more interesting. And I guess the overworld and the top side is cool, and the depths is cool as well. But as for like the main Hyrule, it's pretty much the exact same. If you've played Hyrule in Breath of the Wild, you're gonna find the same stuff in this game as well. Like, all the landmarks are the same. You're just going to different areas to find different things. But as for like the actual things you're seeing, like on the overworld, the landmarks and the terrain, it's the exact same. So as for the gameplay, that's exactly it. What you're doing is you're just going to shrines again, but in different areas. Like, as fun as doing it the first time. So the gameplay is not exactly any different. I mean, you could just forget where the shrines are and just go to play Breath of the Wild again instead. But in this game, you're just doing it again, the exact same thing, but you're finding different shrines. And as for the side quests are a lot better in this game, but they're nowhere near as good as the ones in like Majora's Mask or Breath of the Wild. I mean, there was the Mare one, which is pretty cool, but as for like the reward you got, it was basically you just got some freaking cool hat, which was kind of lame. Like, you didn't get any cool like bottle or like a new item or anything that make the game like more enjoyable. But no, you just got a hat. You got a fucking hat. It was shit. It wasn't worth doing the quest for that. And then they don't really tell you where the guys are. They don't give you like a difference between the side adventures and the side quests. They just give you like a notification of somebody that wants a quest, but it's usually just a side quest where you get like crappy items like rupees. And then the treasure in the overworld is completely dog shit because you just get freaking rupees or like ruby or opal, and it's the same shit every single time. There's no reason to get the treasure in the overworld because it's just shit. It's just fucking rupees or money. And then in the shrines, it's even worse because the shrine challenges are really hard sometimes, but the reward you get is not worth doing at all. Like, you just get some crappy reward if you get the chest. And finally, the weapon durability. The weapon durability is still a problem in this game. Everybody's saying, oh, it's way better. But, you know, there aren't many durable weapons in this game. There are weapons that have more durability and you can like reset it, but like it's so hard to find actual weapons that are more durable than the non-durable weapons and to fuse them together. So if you can find a load of durable weapons, I guess it's not too bad. But most of the weapons in this game are not that durable. They're about as durable as the ones in Breath of the Wild. And if you fuse them together, they're just going to break just as fast. The only way you can stop them from breaking is to get a weapon that fuses with something that is more durable, and then it won't break as fast. But the chance of you finding a weapon that is more durable is very low when all the weapons are basically the same amount of durability. And then there's the music. The music in this game is extremely similar to Breath of the Wild. Pretty much all the tracks are the same. There are some new tracks, but they're so like light you can barely hear them. Like, they're so lightweight. It's so quiet in this game compared to Breath of the Wild, even quieter than Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild's music was very shallow as well. But this game is even shallower in terms of the music, so I can barely hear what the fuck this music is. And I wanted new music, but I didn't even know there's going to be a soundtrack for this game because the music is so similar to the Breath of the Wild soundtrack that it's like, what the hell? But anyway, that's my thoughts on Breath of the Wild 2. See, I can't even say Tears of the Kingdom because it's basically just Breath of the Wild again. But yeah, I don't think this game is a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. I think it is a good game. I'm not going to lie, it is a good game. It is definitely better than Breath of the Wild, but it is so similar to Breath of the Wild. And it was definitely not worth waiting 6 years for this game, considering how similar it is. So anyway, that's going to do it for Fresh Gaming News. Go watch my Tears of the Kingdom review, and I'll see you guys next time on Fresh Gaming News.